Probably not the best place to film. I was actually looking for a bison coming up near the car. Still looking for him, just kind of started here in the Badlands, but this is pretty extreme in itself. I'm standing on basically mud. It doesn't take much for these like formations to snap off. Anyway, hope I could get back and hope I avoid rattlesnakes, but I am very much enjoying myself. But as long as I'm in a place called the Badlands, bad is right in the name, might as well say all the things that were terrible that happened to me in Council Bluffs. First, we could pair them. Twice I had set over set and didn't come close to getting all in. The first was jacks versus fives on jack 5-3. The guy bet the flop, I raised, and he just called. And then the turn was a really wet card. The river was an even wetter card. I think we got a little money in on the river, but we checked the turn. I don't know what his reason was for not re-raising the flop. I mean, he has the second nuts. He only loses to pocket jacks, which is what I had. He said he was waiting for a boat. I just don't think he played live all that much. He gave a reason. It didn't make a lot of sense. The other time, sometimes there are people who just don't raise. If you check to them, they bet. They might bet big. If you bet and they're facing a bet, they really don't ever raise. Their decision is just always between call and fold. I've seen a few people like this. This was one of those guys. On the flop, we each had nothing. He turned a set, I rivered a bigger set. And on the river, he bet 15. There wasn't much in there because the flop went check, check, and he only bet small on the turn. He bet 15, I made it 60, and he just called. He had like the third nuts. There was no flush possible, there was no straight possible. It was a very spread out board. Top card was ace. A set of aces was the nuts. And he had a set of sixes, and he didn't raise. So about $400 left on the table there by not getting all in. Nothing I could do, but just running bad. Happened to get set versus those two guys. That's how precarious my footing was. Right here, that was me getting down here. Like, that wasn't like that before I stepped down. It's like pretty much mud right underneath. Got all in pre. Kings versus ace-9. Ace-9 under the gun, just shoved 250. The next guy to act called. I went all in on top. Happened to pick up kings. Just right spot, right time. I was up against ace-9 and ace-jack, and I lost. I did win the side pot. I broke about even, but I lost the main pot, which was about 750. So that was pretty annoying. Got all in pre. Aces versus king-queen. He had a gutter, that was it, and he hit his gut shot on the river. That was a $500 pot going the other way. If I fall, that's how far down I fall. Last thing before the battery runs out, and before I fall down this cliff possibly. The $900 loss. Even though I went back and it was only a minus 648, that day was devastating. Not good on the way down from 0 to minus 900. Thought at one point it was the worst day of my life until I went back. And also only played like 3.5 hours that day. You miss out on hours when that happens, and you leave when you hit your stop loss. And that was a bad day. So those 5 things were the lowlights of my Council Bluffs trip.